What do you think of incremental games? I think they suck, and I think that if you play them, you're bleeding away a finite lifespan because you're so ADHD desperate for any kind of stimulation that you're willing to trade away the possibility of an entertaining evening by doing something that's comfortable and familiar. I would legitimately, if you play incremental games, like, if it's an incremental game that's kind of concept-driven and only lasts a few hours, I think that's fine. But if you're doing one of those that it has, like, when you're offline, like, accumulation, like, you know what I mean? And it goes, like, days and days and days or whatever, you should hit your head with the wall. You should smack your head against the wall. What's an incremental game? Like Cookie Clicker, like, you know, like, you click 10 times, and then you build a factory that clicks for you once every second, and then blah, blah, blah. Guys, you have a finite lifespan. You're literally, like, choosing to waste your time watching paint dry. Why would you ever do that? Holy shit. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing something that's comfortable to you, but there's a difference between doing something comfortable and doing something utterly asinine because it's trapped your brain in a fucking box of numbers, okay? You guys have to understand that there's not exactly a perfect overlap between things that are good, like entertaining, and things that trap your brain, okay? Your brain is riddled with cognitive failings that were developed to help you survive in the wilderness, but today can sometimes hurt you. Cognitive biases exist because the things that help you out in the wilderness are not necessarily things that help you make abstract logical decisions. Pre-civilization humans never evolved to, like, infer data from personal experience. That's just not... They only care about their personal experience. The whole broader data stuff, that's not really... It wasn't needed. So we have failings in our brain that we didn't evolve to overcome. We probably never will. So much in the same way, there are things that can trap your attention that aren't necessarily entertaining. Like for real, guys. Have you guys ever had that feeling where you've just played like 1 or 2 hours of a video game and you haven't like been enjoying it or engaged with it that much? Like you've just been kind of slumped back in your chair and you're just kind of going through the motions and you don't really know what else to do. And like you finish playing for a while, you just sort of stand up and you realize you don't know why you stood up. You just wanted to do something other than sit there. You have to... This is your brain. You have to break out of that, okay? You have to break out of that feeling. I've talked about this before, but I think the best way to break out of that feeling, the easiest way to break out of that feeling, is to be very purposeful, okay? You have to be very, very purposeful with everything that you do, okay? Like, for instance, if you want food, if you're hungry, do it. Seriously, I'm hungry. And then you go to the kitchen, okay? It's a reflex. You train yourself to do it, okay? Your brain is like an engine. The patterns that you set are the patterns that you'll follow, okay? So the easier you make it for yourself to do a thing, the easier it'll be in the future. If you're lying in bed and you're having trouble getting up out of bed, you have to do it. If you're sitting here and you need to pee, don't just sit here waiting for the YouTube video to finish. Don't just sit waiting for the game match to end. Go fucking pee immediately. Because the more you do that, the more you train yourself to immediately act on your desires. And if you can immediately act on them, you don't catch yourself doing these like weird recurring brain loop patterns. Yeah, exactly. Say out loud what you're going to do. If you like literally, if you're like, I'm hungry, say, I'm going to get food and stand up. I mean, even if you're alone or whatever, or fuck, even if there are people around, fucking do it, okay? Don't be shy. Absolutely. Now, is this easy to do? No, it is not. Can depression, executive dysfunction, ADHD, and other cognitive conditions make it harder to do this? Yes, 100%. Do I have ADHD and depression and executive dysfunction sometimes, and that means that I know all this already and you're not educating me when you point that out? Yes. Is it pathetic how every single time I give any kind of advice in chat, all the depressed motherfuckers come out and say, dude, it's so invalidating of you to suggest that we have any capacity to improve our life? Yes. Should you actually make an effort to improve your life, even while acknowledging the fact that there are issues that may make it more difficult for you to do so? Yes. Are you exactly like the incels who say that there's no obligation for them to improve their lives because they feel like they don't have any ability to meaningfully make any change either? Yes. Am I going to need to breathe now? Yes. There we go. Can't always do it. I'm not saying beat yourself up if you fail to do it. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I didn't do it great this time. Like, meh. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you make an effort to do it. You get better at it, and it becomes easier in the future. It's as simple as that. It's not really easy, but it is simple. I think people are acting like you're talking about all games and just not very specific vapid cookie clicker type games. How vapid a game is really depends on what you're putting into it, okay? Like, here's a game that is very, very vapid if you're just sort of lazily doing it, and very intense if you're doing it dedicatedly. Blackjack. When you're playing blackjack, if you want to just be like, you're like, okay, this number, okay, then do this, that. Like, you can just have in your head, like, go over this 6. But if you're like hardcore concentrating, you can fucking throw your brain into that shit. You know? Absolutely. Lots of other games like that. There are lots of games you can kind of half-ass. You can play a lot of games in ways that are engaging and meaningful, but incremental games are just not one of them, usually. They're just not mechanically designed to be engaging in that type of way. They're mechanically designed to be like a kind of fucking cognitive entrapment. That's what they do. They're cognitive entrapment. Is she stinky? She always smells like mushrooms. Really? Little ball sack baby. Here, hold on. Why do you so desperately want to act like a life coach and give advice when you have no reason to believe you know what you're talking about? Ooh, somebody got super triggered by what I had to say. You need to take my advice double time, baby. The only people who get super mad at the shit that I say when I give really milquetoast takes, like, you should try to develop good, like, modes of behavior, are the people who are really called out by them, you know? Like, somebody, like you're sitting with, like, 6 full piss bottles next to you. You've got, like, condoms that you shit into, and you've got 3 tabs of Cookie Clicker open on different, like, incognito browsers, so they're all playing on separate games. And you listen to me say that, and you're like, what the fuck does he know? Okay, is this really the best way to respond to those people, though? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? I'm not a mental health expert. Oh, God.